Cheers. Got my nice little shaken iced espresso. What I wanted to talk about real quick, just ask a question basically. Be interesting discussion. For foreigners in the Philippines, are you an expat or an immigrant? Someone made a comment on one of my videos because, like everybody else, I always just use the expression Philippines expat. That's what people are looking for when they're searching around on YouTube and everything. And that's just become, the common nomenclature or whatever, if you will, that people use for a foreigner hanging out in the Philippines. It's just like a sexpat, which I guess, of course, the reason that term became popular is just because it rhymes with expat. But this person pointed out that to be considered an expat, that you have to be still maintaining a home in your original country of birth. And you're living overseas for a fixed period of time, usually for work. And that's what makes you an expat. Otherwise, you're an immigrant. Now, as I pointed out to them, I'm just using the common usage that people have fallen into. And certainly you can be a retired person and be an expat. A lot of people who are over in the Philippines, they still maintain a residence back in the United States. Though for some of them, maybe it's just kind of a fake one, in terms of having a place with a relative or something where they get mail and everything. Their social security documentation and all of that goes. And they just keep staying in the Philippines on tourist visas and extending those as they need to, But if you do move to a foreign country and stay there permanently and you're living there, it's just like somebody moving to the United States, they become an immigrant, not an expat. We don't refer to illegal expats. We talk about illegal immigrants, or undocumented or illegal aliens. So I guess if you were overstaying your visa and stuff in the Philippines, what would you be? Would you be an illegal alien, illegal immigrant, or an undocumented expat? So there's a lot of terms like that if you really want to get technical about it, if you're living in the Philippines and that's your permanent home now, you really are an immigrant, not an expat. Because an expat implies that you're going to go back to where you came from, I guess, really. And you're just there, as that one person commented, for a specific fixed period of time. But it'd be interesting to hear what people have to say about that. Obviously, there's a lot of different situations. People are in a lot of different situations over there. Some of them do have permanent residences back in their original country. Some of them, they're just living in the Philippines. They don't really have a fixed address, permanent residence back in their home country or anything. But those are just the terms that we start using about things. You have a certain terminology that kind of becomes in vogue. And for foreigners in the Philippines, it's just become expat. As this one person commented, though, that's not really, technically the precise term for someone who is living there. If someone moves to the Philippines and they've made a home there and they plan to live out the rest of their days there and die there, they really are kind of an immigrant. It's, even if you're not a citizen, you don't become a citizen or anything, or maybe a permanent resident. But on the other hand, it's a lot of the guys who move over there do become kind of like permanent residents. You get your retirement visas and stuff. Or if you're married to someone there, when you go in the country, you get your balik bayan visa or whatever it's called, things like that. But that would be an interesting discussion. Find out what people consider themselves, All you foreigners living in the Philippines, do you consider yourselves an expat or an immigrant? And of course, just because you consider yourself one thing or another, is that really technically what you are, It's like people who come here on a visa, like you bring your wife or someone here. While they're here, they're a permanent resident, not a citizen yet or anything, but if they're a permanent resident, we don't call them expats. American expats, or Philippine expats in America, we refer to them as immigrants. So that's a good question.